boys and girls, please be upstanding if you can, as you'll hear the anthems for both countries. First of all, for Argentina.
Well, a great sound and a wonderful crowd inside Murrayfield again, as it was against Australia. They're expecting Major Heather Stanning to bring on the match ball. The woman who won her second Olympic rowing gold in Rio with Helen Glover. What a match in prospect, though, between these two and Scotland. Well, a few changes in the pack. Changes with Edinburgh flanker Magnus Bradbury coming in to earn his first cap, with John Barclay moving to number 8. Grant Gilchrist comes into the second row after the head knock suffered by Richie Gray last week. A rare start for Fraser Brown at hooker, a very mobile, dynamic player in place of Ross Ford. The backs slightly more settled. Top try scorer Tommy Seymour able to take his place once again on the wing, and Hugh Jones, how does he follow his 2-try performance of last week in the centre? As for Argentina, well, Daniel Hurcade, the coach, has asked the same starting 15 to make amends for their efforts in Cardiff. The Pumas pack was up against it, though, in the scrum. Tight ahead Ramiro Herrera in particular. They're led by hooker Agustin Creve. Facundo Isa, great young talent at number 8. Argentina's backline does now carry a real threat, even without the great winger Juan Imhoff, who's one of the European-based players. And look out for a mixture of kicking from a hand from Juan Martin Hernandez and fly-half Nicolas Sanchez on his 50th cap. On the bench, Ford and Ryan Wilson and Tim Visser slipped down to the supporting cast for Scotland. A lot of experience waiting there for Argentina. And there is Heather Stanning, along with Helen Glover. Won a second gold in the women's pair in Rio. Off she goes, we're ready. The referee for this one is the New Zealander Ben O'Keefe, the New Zealander. Telling everyone just to calm down for a moment. The countdown, I decide when this match starts, says Ben. And we are ready now. Finn Russell, mustachioed Finn Russell. What a game he had against Australia. And on a cold, clear night at Murrayfield, Argentina taken immediately. And strange on this evening to think of the World Cup in Japan in 3 years' time, but this match could have a significant bearing on the chances of either side, with the draw made in May and these sides sitting 8th and 9th in the world rankings at the moment. So Hogg's first adventure. And a carry by Russell again. Great conditions for rugby this evening. Then the carry by Barclay, now playing number 8. And Gilchrist drives himself on. And there is Johnny Gray. Good tidy start by Scotland, and Fagerson carries. Up it goes from Russell. Maitland trying to get underneath it for Scotland, but it falls the way of the Pumas. So in goes Landajo, the scrum half. And then a great covering defence as it was taken in by Facundo Issa, the number 8. And then Juan Martin Hernandez, wonderful kicker from hand, but finds only Finn Russell here. Ambles forward and sends it high again. Chasing down his own kick and taking it well. Advantage to Scotland. Agustin Crevy was over there, and they were being told, Argentina, that the ball had been... So hands in the ruck, the ultimate offence, and Greg Laidlaw is going to have a pop at goal. So Chris Patterson, Keith Wood alongside, and a very tidy start by Scotland.
A good start with Scotland, wasn't it? Good evening, everyone. Interesting to see the kicking game, high balls in the wingers, both short wingers. You see, that's a penalty. Crevy giving the penalty away. It was initially okay, and then, as Ben O'Keefe said, hands off at a second attempt and was penalised. But that's Finn Russell. That's a high kicking game we're on about. Finn Russell getting up and taking that.
You know, at the very start of a game, the referee is going to put his marker down. He's always going to give a penalty for holding on at the start. You need a little bit of extra discipline.
So great conditions for a kicker, and Laidlaw, one of the most accurate in the game. A chance to give Scotland early points. Sweetly struck, and through it goes, and Scotland have 3 points. That their early play and possession merits.
Good start again. We saw a good start from Scotland last weekend against Australia. Now Argentina and Australia obviously been beaten in international form. Scotland just fresh in November, so a good start's crucial.
Just watch restarts from Juan Martin Hernandez, the height he can get on restarts, and it really does give his chasing players every opportunity in an area of the game that Scotland are looking to improve on. That one perhaps just a little bit too far, gave them the big build-up. And there's Magnus Bradbury, first touch in international rugby for the man from Oban, the first Scottish international from that town on the west coast. And Johnny Gray. Stay on side headgear is the cry from the referee. Good take by Issa, but he's well taken himself by Maitland, who's up quickly. Argentina's ball though. Deep it goes to Juan Martin Hernandez. He flings it deep as well, and Tukulek carries. So Landajo switches the play, and again some intricate manoeuvres from Argentina, but well enough read by Scotland. Still Argentina's ball. Little inside ball from Sanchez. And Landajo. It's down the blind side, a little juggle and still with Argentina. Not making too much ground though, and penalty to Scotland. Round his neck was the call, and again something that the referees are being very, very tight on now. Anything above the chest is going to be penalised.
And they have to, and it's something that's absolutely essential to the game, that you make certain that guys their health is paramount, and that it's a silly penalty to give away Argentina are under no pressure whatsoever, forcing things just a little bit, and suddenly the second penalty in the first 5 minutes.
So Russell tries to just slice one off the outside of the boot, and he kicked, and that's a sort of Juan Martin Hernandez special, one that just curls out, not much of an angle to play with, but that is a beautiful touch finder deep into the Argentinian 22.
Is that a banana kick that you would try very often, Chris?
Not deliberately. Had a few banana kicks, but not on purpose.
So Fraser Brown looking for his man, and Johnny Gray had to just slap that back. So Laidlaw now under a bit of pressure and carried in by Hamish Watson. Again, a very bright game last week against Australia, the open side flanker. Gilchrist just dives forward, and wide it goes now, and carried by Alan Dell. Finn Russell again, and just lost in the
into Argentina.
In the challenge.
Argentina scrum.
There was an inside ball getting knocked on there. You've seen Argentina in the phase before try this 2 or 3 times, and what the attacking players are doing, they're looking for a lazy defender in that inside channel. Finn Russell's pass intercepted it, but already we see 2 different types of defence. Scotland are coming up, putting a lot of pressure on Argentina, and Argentina are allowing Scotland to play. That's why Scotland had so much possession early on in this game.
Now, an area of the game in which, despite their problems last week in Cardiff, that Argentina would think they would have the edge. Nothing really in the pack weights, but technique is all.
Crouch! Binds! Sit!
That's fairly even.
Up. Reset.
Just with the issues that were happening last week in Cardiff, Herrera is an absolute bear of a man. Huge guy, big, tall, very large upper body.
He's giving you good
Scrummaged last week about 6 or 9 inches too high. Put himself under huge pressure, but he is powerful and can be very powerful.
Why would Ben O'Keefe reset that scrum? The ball was at the back. It hadn't gone down. Why would you choose to reset, you know?
And when you're a front row forward, you say, come on, ref, give us some bit of a break. I know it's only the start of the game, but this is something for the rest of the game we might struggle a little.
Big game for Xander Fagerson as well there on the tight head for Scotland. He had his problems in the scrum last week. So
the hookers, first scrum was fine, good space. The other one, pre-engaged, right?
So and Chris Patterson understandably throwing his hands up, saying the first scrum was fine, then why was the ball just not going anywhere?
Well, I think as long as it's at the back, it's okay. And it looked as if the ball was slow and getting to the back of the scrum, but it was. It could have been played, and we could have been seeing the action. Even on the ground for the front row, they're quite happy if the ball is anywhere there. If their heads are stuck in the ground, it's fine. They're strong enough. They're well able to mind each other.
Ben O'Keefe just loves scrums.
Sit!
And then eventually goes down, penalty to Argentina.
Overextending, feedback.
It's hard to see exactly what happened there, but Fagerson had trouble last week that when the pressure kept coming down, he went down, but his legs shot back, and he needs to try and get his knees up a little bit underneath his chest a bit more. So
penalty to Argentina after those 3 scrums, and Juan Martin Hernandez, a big mistake from El Maco. And Maitland wandering in off his right wing.
Hold!
That really is the cardinal sin for a penalty. Missing touch, giving Scotland ball. Russell and Hogg. And Laidlaw quickly away then. And Barkley almost sees a gap, but closing him down was Matthias Orlando. And so Laidlaw pops it over the top. And going back for it is Tucalet, and then Juan Martin Hernandez.
Argentina, stop! Stop!
Doesn't find touch with this one either, and Russell again able to feed Hogg once more. Long fired out flat pass to Maitland, and Maitland looking for Tommy Seymour. Just had to check for a moment. It's Scotland with so much ball in the early minutes, and then a spill from Xander Fagerson.
Happy.
And so Argentina's scrum.
Hey. Yeah. You're also pulling him over the ruck as well, all right?
Ben O'Keefe keeping everybody on their toes. This is a knock-on from Xander Fagerson. Pass a little bit low, but he'll be frustrated to knock that on. Scotland have had a lot of possession. This is counter-attack. Stuart Hogg opting to give the long pass, a really accurate pass to Sean Maitland. And Tommy Seymour was trying to outflank the Argentinian defence. But Argentina, they don't come at you aggressively in defence, they slide. So passes, long passes like that, don't terrorise them too much. It almost forces them to go wide, and they can cover and then really compete hard at the breakdown.
Just a look at the territory while in possession. And, Scotland have had plenty of that. He said, without going into specifics.
Okay. Guys,
Too much. Bit too much.
if he's giving you space, go into the space, okay?
So he's not giving me space.
Just come across so there's gaps, okay? Let's go, last time.
Okay, come on.
across.
You. Okay, me here. Right.
Yeah, good. Good.
Fraser Brown saying he wanted a little bit of space. Just need my space.
Not a chance, kid. Make it tough for him.
Yes, Gravy with the experience, the Argentinian captain. Brown in for Rossford today. So neither scrum at the moment with the real upper hand. Is taken in by Matthias Moroni. And there is Sanchez on his 50th cap to fly half.
Ruck form. Yep.
So Argentina, a rare opportunity with the ball. It's good strength. Matera now. Pumas again. Juan Martin Hernandez gives it wide in quick hands in Cravey. Good linking by the captain, but then a little spill from Matthias Orlando. Looking to see if the ball came Scotland's way, the referee there, but Scotland will have the scrum, and for a moment it looked lively and enterprising from Argentina, but just the mistake at the end from Orlando.
Well, they created the opportunity well, didn't they? Yeah, initially some real hard driving runs, and that was they created the space on the edge. Cravey is such an accomplished ball carrier, did well to take that actually, but Orlando couldn't take it. But they've been attacking close to the breakdown because you saw Finn Russell there flying up in defence, the Argentinians, and then once they got the space, they couldn't quite execute the pass.
Just been excited by this Scottish selection because when I looked at the game last week, the starting Scottish 15 had the better of the Australian team, but it was when the bench came on, they're just lacking that strength and depth, and suddenly there's all these changes because Vern Cotter has recognised that immediately. He needs depth all the time. He needs players putting their hand up and making certain that they can fill in the gap when it's needed.
Here's 3 changes to this pack. Free kick this time to Scotland, so away goes Laidlaw and feeds it on to John Barclay. Really was a tower of strength for Scotland last week as well. Barclay and Laidlaw almost nips his way through. So Johnny Gray feeds it on and carried by Fraser Brown.
That's fine, that's fine.
And Argentina have pinched it.
Let him go!
Just
Inside.
trying to, well, ball loose for a moment, just trying to work their way out of their 22, the Argentinians, but heading backwards at the moment.
Step here, step. Hold, it's not out, wait.
So back it comes for the clearing kick from Tucalet, and it's a decent nudge as well, but it'll still be Scotland's line out just outside the 22.
It was a steal from Crevy, the captain leading by example. A wonderful steal in that close quarters. It was really, really accurate and quickly in over the ball, and I think what we're seeing is that the strength of Argentina are their individuals, and this is an excellent example. Look how quickly Crevy's in there.
Guys, injury. He's in the way of the line out.
It's not Crevy.
Time off.
I've been talking about, is that Matera? But the two of them in and over the ball. Wonderful. The anticipation of where the ball's going to be, then to get in, and the bravery and the passion to rip that back.
Just to explain again why this match might be so important, in that these are the sides ranked in Argentina 8th and Scotland 9th, so side by side pretty much in the rankings, and if you're in the top 8 it makes things a good deal easier for the World Cup. I know it's 3 years away, but the draw for the World Cup is made in May. Now Argentina, if they lose to Scotland here, Scotland will pass them. Argentina then only have one more match before the draw for the World Cup is done, and that's against England next week. Now Scotland could regress in the Six Nations, or they could go further forward, but Argentina's race in terms of the world rankings will be just about done. And if you get into that top 8, it can make things a whole lot easier. Scotland's line out just about works through Gilchrist and then Watson.
Roll out, roll! That's good.
Carried in by Magnus Bradbury and still going.
Over!
He says he gets so nervous before playing for Edinburgh at Murrayfield, so what he'll be like today, not sure in his first cap. There is a Hugh Jones first touch for the
That's fine, play
2-try
on,
scorer last week, but Messi now and Argentina secure it.
Off his foot. Yeah.
So in comes Lucas Nogueira to play scrum half, and there is Sanchez giving it wide now. And Argentina with ball and chance, but then the spill by Javi Ortega Decio. Some mistakes really from both sides, but Argentina certainly with a few that have cost them.
I thought last week when they went to play against Wales, they went back to conservative Argentina. It was something that was a little bit disappointing. They've turned up today to not do that, but it actually looks as if they're a little bit fatigued, and if they're not running, they're not cutting the right line. That was just a mix-up between two forwards.
I think you're right, Keith, and what they're doing is correct. They're just not executing it with accuracy. You know, that's two occasions they've created space on the outside edge, and both passes have gone to ground.
But you two travelled a fair bit in your time to get to matches, but Argentina, and because they now play essentially, they all play for Los Jaguares in Argentina. I mean, the mileage they must rack up, and that'll take its toll.
I haven't recovered from Chicago a couple of weeks ago, so these guys have to be absolutely knackered.
They went into that Wales game, Argentina, after playing Japan in Tokyo, and here they are now, and Argentina certainly with a drive at that scrum, looking for the penalty. Scotland move it smartly. A good pickup, was it? No, little spilled forward by Finn Russell. Now there at that scrum, that's something for Argentina to take forward.
That was brilliant up on the loose head side. They put a huge amount of pressure in, but things you're taught as a very young kid is never ship rubbish along to the next guy. Do the simple thing well and restart again. When you're under that much pressure, you just can't shovel it on outside.
So straight into another scrum test.
No more free kicks then. Great.
And Ben O'Keefe, the referee, New Zealander, just trying to make his instructions clear.
Binds!
A lot of Spanish chatter. Looking for the same as the last scrum.
I'm just looking at young Ferguson there. He just leaves his legs back.
It's not going to come into a balance again. Nothing intentional, so we reset.
Pivoting on his hips and down to the ground. He needs to get his right knee up underneath him a bit more to keep that pressure. There's an awful lot of weight coming through Argentinian beef, I suppose.
He's an immensely strong and has been touted for a long time, Xander Ferguson. He's still young, still 20, but tight head props, what are they mature? Under 30, 32?
27, 28 now is where they are. But, you know, he learned so much in the first 20 minutes of this game, but he needs to learn it immediately.
So when it goes, down it goes again. And the referee says use it, which they do eventually. Landajo giving it to Sanchez, and he fizzes it low. Nobody there for Scotland at the moment. And eventually taken by Hogg.
Okay, Scotland out!
And chasing this one down himself. But Tukulek gives it infield to Sanchez. And a little step in the fly half, almost away. A lot of play happening in the Argentinian half though, but now Martin Landajo out on his own, looking for support, chips it on, and Scotland looking to win the race back here, and they should do now. And eventually was Tommy Seymour getting there.
22.
And back we come for the 22. Nothing in that, said the referee. There were complaints from the Argentinians about possible obstruction. And Martin Landajo was saying just that, but it will be a Scotland 22.
He was convinced, wasn't it? Landajo so sharp and around the breakdown. He just thought Hamish Watson slide too quickly away from the ruck, very similar to what he did last week against Wales, and he put the kick through for the try, but Tommy Seymour covered well.
So the long drop out from Finn Russell and taken in by Joaquin Tukulet, the fullback. It's a busy game so far, and now Argentina beginning to find just a little bit more territory and possession. Carried in there by Facundo Issa. And Sanchez gives it deeper to Juan Martin Hernandez, and then on, and then stripped by Dunbar. And a chance for Scotland to counter as the kick out on the full though, so wasted opportunity for the home side.
Go guys, line out.
And back they come. Scuffles breaking out. Magnus Bradbury enjoying international rugby.
He won't take a backward step. He's a physical. He plays beyond his years as Magnus Bradbury. Johnny Gray helping out.
Let's go.
I remember trying to roughen up Phil Kearns in my first test just to let him know I was there, and I came out absolutely second best in that one.
A smile from Augustine Creevy. All our friends now. Nearly a quarter of this match gone. Just that penalty for Scotland at the moment. 3 points on the board, but Argentina have the penalty. And quickly taken by Landajo, looking lively in scrum half. And carried in there by Santiago Cordero, the wings. So Argentina now through Matera and then Landajo, and wide it goes now. Real opportunity now for the Pumas, carried on through Orlando, and now Tukelet with a chip, and the gatherer's there, but into touch it goes. And the East Stand welcome everyone into touch there, because that was dangerous for Scotland. Argentina just beginning to look, and Landajo at the heart of things, just beginning to look dangerous.
Yeah, it's absolute. The game's come alive for the first time, hasn't it? Landajo, as you say, a quick tap penalty, and the new Cordero was there. And Scotland the bomb quick at the line as well.
Quick through Magnus Bradbury, waiting deep.
Hold here, hold.
Risky, but it pays off, and Hogg with his big boot looks for that East Stand, doesn't find it. So infield it comes. So Tukelet once more, but Argentina from a good deal deeper than they were a moment ago. Sanchez once again, a pass to nobody, then gathered in just about by Javi Ortega. And Scotland get the penalty. Great defence there. You can hear the cries of holding, plaintive cries, and they were heard by the referee.
That's what we're going to do, boys.
Again, for kids watching, just look at number 7, Hamish Watson, straight down, exactly on the ball, not resting on his elbows at all. No option for the referee whatsoever there. Fine technical play.
He's very good at that, Hamish Watson, but I'd go back just slightly before that, where Ortega Desio picks up the ball. He's in a poor position because he didn't work hard enough to get back, and as with the support players, he was isolated because they didn't work hard enough to get back. Scotland's work rate was far better. This is Landajo's break. You see Hamish Watson just behind the dummy, moving off that first channel, and when they put the kick through for the try against Wales, they were hoping to do the same, but
Time off.
well, Tommy Seymour got there, and Stuart Hogg just to make sure, was it Maroney just ushered off the ball.
Ross Ford is hastily getting ready because Fraser Brown is off. It's a blood replacement, so Ross Ford is on, and it doesn't matter that it's a blood replacement. It is cap number 101. Actually, his 50th appearance at Murrayfield. So Ross Ford on very early for this attacking line out. Fraser Brown will return once he's been patched up, but an opportunity here for Scotland.
Argentina, back.
Taken down safely by Johnny Gray, and then the drive comes in and comes to a shuddering halt as Argentina set themselves.
That's one going nowhere.
Johnny Gray flapping his arms, complaining, and Scotland move it. Russell giving it wide, and the interception was the danger. Up so quickly the defence, but now it's shifted, and now it's on perhaps for Seymour, who skips infield into the 22. And just held by Johnny Gray. And Scotland short of bodies there, so picked up by Pablo Matera, and the blindside flanker just eases his way past and shovels it onto Tukelet.
Roll.
And there is Landajo again, and taken in by Lucas Nogueira.
Lost Scotland.
Prop. And deep it goes now to Sanchez, little step to buy himself a bit of room, and still going.
No.
And then hits a wall.
Box.
5.
Behind the back to it.
It's outside.
And Landajo sends it high, not much distance on it. Anybody's to claim.
It's fine.
Fine, says the referee, not offside, as it's hacked on by Matera and taken in by Russell. So Russell thinks he sees a bit of space there, but plenty of Argentinian players. And one of them is Juan Martin Hernandez, who loves a low scudding kick, controlled deftly.
Hold on.
And into Hogg. And here comes the roar for Hogg, the excitement when he gets the ball, but not too much on there. Matera and Cravey took him down. And Scotland out in the wide channels again, carried on by the loosehead Alan Dell.
Fun.
And then spilled, but gathered well by Fagerson. No, that the spill
He's
forward.
onside, it's okay.
So Argentina's scrum. It's an even contest, as we thought it might. There are a few mistakes from either side, but not much quarter being given.
No, there's a lot of pressure at breakdown as well, isn't it? Not a lot of numbers at the breakdown, but a lot of pressure coming through. This is the last one. Moroni getting right
he just grabbed your hand.
onto Greg Laidlaw. Greg Laidlaw asked the question to the referee if it was pulled out of his hands, but I think he needs to zip that away quicker.
Front row down.
1 or 2 turnovers due to inaccuracy around the breakdown.
It may have been a bit pulled away out of the hand, but he was offside in the first place. And the idea of being at the back and hindmost foot and making certain that is the gap that's there, that's what puts players under an awful lot of pressure. And players get very frustrated when that happens. And there's been a little bit of edge to the game between the two packs, because I think they're kind of, they are roughing each other up just a little bit.
That's Lucas Nogueira, the loose head, who's down injured. You saw the tackles made and missed there, and 25 tackles made by Scotland, 26 by Argentina. 3 missed by the Pumas, just 1 by Scotland, so it is a very, very even contest. There's a bit of the action so far, and Martin Landajo has proved the real danger for Argentina so far.
This is his quick tap, and he knows that Cordero's just right there on his shoulder, and he reacts. You have to make sure you're not the only person reacting when you take a quick tap. You need your team to do it, and again we see Argentina moving the ball to the outside channels, popping it, trying to pop it along the ground. But the Scotland defence was up to it, and Moroni was bundled into touch.
So Landajo,
he sets the tempo, doesn't he?
He does.
Landajo.
And they do have quite a good tempo about them now, Argentina. They really changed their game over the last couple of years. As they went into the Rugby Championship, they knew that they had to play a more expansive game to compete on a more regular basis with the other Southern Hemisphere sides. Even contest this time at the scrum, going nowhere, says the referee. So Landajo moves it now to Sanchez, and mistake again, went backwards though, so opportunity on Lando though, feeling the pressure, but still went backwards, although eventually there was a knock-on by Argentina, and mistakes from them, but good pressure by the Scottish defence.
It's great pressure. It kind of goes back to what I said earlier on about when a mistake is made, don't shovel it onto somebody else. That could have very easily ended up with a pop ball and a try underneath the post.
It's Hugh Jones, isn't it, putting most of the pressure. And that outside centre position at 30, he has the luxury of being a little bit wider, so he can look in, he can see where the threats are coming from, and he makes the crucial decision whether to go hard or sit off and be more passive in defence.
He had a dream debut last week, didn't he?
Absolutely outstanding, so quick. I mean, the feedback coming from the players is he's so powerful and quick with the ball in his hands. He's got a classic outside break, and he defended well, he attacked well, and 2 tries, it doesn't get much better than that.
You were talking about options that Scotland are looking for, strength and depth in certain positions. Well, in the centre now you have Matt Scott, you have Duncan Taylor when he comes back, you've got Mark Bennett as well that you're able to leave out. But meanwhile, scrum fun goes on.
Guys, I know that you can. No, obviously, I know that you guys can scrum properly because we've had some good scrums, okay? You don't need to be on his head when he's giving you good space. No, you've made your point pretty clearly. From now on, we just need to have good scrums, okay? Let's go. You don't need to be right on his head.
I love the scrum, I have to say. I was born into it almost. But this messing around is very frustrating for viewers and for players alike.
Let's see if we can have a clean one here. Again, Argentina had that one scrum where they just drove up and through Scotland. Apart from that, it has been very, very even. 26 minutes gone, 3-0. Very different game to that last week here.
Sit.
It's down on this side again. The decision this time, penalty to Scotland.
We said in and down. We said in and down.
I think at sometimes they just become the look of the draw. I mean, that had barely set, actually. That wasn't even in the right position to kind of call that scrum was on.
In and down, he said, penalising Lucas Nogueira, the loose end. There's Daniel Hurcard in the front row. Very, very good coach of the Pumas. Their whole coaching team is Argentinian. Every player is born and raised in Argentina. They were the only side at the World Cup to have every player born in that country, all 35. And that's what I think partly why Agustin Pichot, who I think is here today, is campaigning. And he's got a lot of support for the residency qualification to be moved from 3 to 5 years.
He'd have support from me. I agree with that 100%.
Perhaps even beyond that. Who knows? But let's start with 5 years. Laidlaw gets the hush of Murrayfield. Well, Scotland taking their chances through the ever-trusty boots of Greg Laidlaw. The lead is 6 points, but it's a sort of tense, nervy match at the moment. The doesn't have the feeling of a free-flowing friendly. It's as if both these sides know that there's a little bit at stake.
Not much between the teams, is there, Andrew? And I think what's important for Scotland is to consolidate that and get back into Argentinian territory. Last week, Wales just couldn't shake off the Argentinians, and they're always within the game.
That was just scooped up by Juan Martin Hernandez. Jones takes it though, and then Gilchrist, well, it went backwards, says the referee, but then there was a little tap forward. I think Gilchrist was expecting that, but still.
One of the elements that, forwards would always say, but teams would always say, is the score is over when you've got the kick off and gone back into the opponent's half. And those little silly mistakes, unbelievably frustrating for players, but the coach goes ballistic inside of the box.
Yeah, the restarts for Scotland. I said that Grant Gilchrist maybe wasn't expecting it, but given that he was holding out his hands saying, give me the ball, perhaps he was.
9 handling errors in the first half hour as well. Both teams guilty of it. Can't get a flow to the game at all at the moment.
And this is why restarts are so important. Look at the attacking position now for Argentina off a solid enough scrum for Kunduisa, just scoops it on to Landajo, then wide it goes through Juan Martin Hernandez, and then Orlando now breaking free, looking for support of Juan Martin Hernandez, and there's a real chance now for Argentina, up to within metres of the line. Bodies pouring in to secure it, carried in there by Matias Alemano, the lock forward. So Argentina battering away at the Scottish defence. Issa is there again. Landajo complains to the referee, then the loose head. Lucas Nogueira is in, but Landajo gives it to Creevy to carry, and Creevy, the captain, just held short. Still for Argentina. Landajo, the scrum half, dives, can't quite get there. Scotland's defence right on the line, meeting every assault from Argentina at the moment. Argentina burrowing their way in, trying to get that ball down, and the referee will say held up. So the danger averted for the moment, but it will be a 5-metre scrum to Argentina.
Well, we said the game was starting to come alive. Orlando proved us wrong. And watch this set piece here, a solid scrum, 8 to 9, and then look at that line by Orlando, straight through Finn Russell, and he just knew that Hernandez, his centre partner, was there. He could give the offload. Cordero working hard to get there as well. A really good attack by Argentina. Watch this for an offload. He just knows his centre partner's there. Argentina have on average 16 offloads per game. There's another 2 to add to the balance.
My favourite aspect of watching Argentina play is somebody always runs the positive line. They expect there to be an offload. They expect their teammate to break the gain line. It just makes it beautiful to watch.
Now this, as an Argentinian forward, you would be licking your lips. 5 metres out. Options either side for the backs as well, but Landajo waits. Just peering across at options behind the scrum, but will the forwards take it on themselves? Scotland not yielding at the moment, then just a bit of movement, some creaking, down it goes. Referee says advantage to Argentina, so a free attack here for them. Carried in now by Ortega Decio, but they'll come back for that penalty, and I think it may well be scrum again.
No advantage.
I mean, it's a free 3 points if they want it.
Overextending, collapsing.
That's what you were saying, overextending and causes the collapse.
Yeah, all the pressure is there. You're trying to hold your position so you don't take a step back. You want your feet behind you if you're in a low enough position. But here his feet are too far back. Any weight that goes on him, he just doesn't have the strength and the centre of gravity to hold that up, to be able to hold that position.
There's not a lot in that, is there, Keith? I mean, I think Scotland were fairly strong. There wasn't a lot of movement. It just eventually went down, as you were saying before. It's luck of the draw at times, which way the penalty goes.
Look at the draw, but just a little bit of extra body position. You learn that won't go against you.
Just that little shake of the head from Xander Fagerson takes him into this scrum. Murrayfield calls for some desperate defence. Argentina trying at the shove, and it is creaking, it is moving forward, held at the back by Facundo Issa, told to use it by the referee, so left to go. Sanchez has it, and Sanchez for the line, can't quite get there, held up, kept at bay, driven back. Argentina still with it, but then the ball comes loose, hacked on by Laidlaw. And Cordero has to get back now for Argentina. A bit of a spill, anybody's to claim. Well, referee says it went forward. I thought it went backwards off Cordero, but the celebrations from Scotland and an opportunity missed it in big style by Argentina.
Well, it was a far more dominant scrum that time by Argentina. As Ben O'Keefe sends Ross Ford back to touching. Fraser Brown's rejoining us after his blood injury. Here's the knock-on yet just from Cordero. It's Magnus Bradbury's putting him under pressure, but there was a wonderful try-saving tackle. Joint try-saving. Here it is. Hamish Watson and Finn Russell get in there. Hamish Watson gets underneath Sanchez, drives him back, and there's a competition at the breakdown we've seen already. Big turning point in the match, or it could be a big influence on the match at that point.
There is Hamish Watson, and this is the scrum for Scotland now in the 10-metre line. Good work by Finn Russell as well. So Ross Ford, just confirmation of that. He's off. We have Fraser Brown having been stitched up, put together again, back into the front row. Down it goes again. Now, I wonder what the referee's looking for now, because again there's an element of psychology. Agustin Creevy pleading, hands clasped. He might have to go off in a minute with a bit of blood. And see Xander Fagerson down. James Robson in attendance.
It's an awful lot of the dark arts almost that happen in that front row, and what exactly is going on at different times. If a player is collapsing, you tend to put pressure down. It's very hard for a referee to be able to see that, but you know that you're doing that yourself in the scrum. Put them under a little bit of pressure to where they feel a little bit uncomfortable.
It's difficult for us watching Xander Fagerson getting the treatment there, just to appreciate how brutal and hard life is in the front row. I mean, for a strong man, but just everything in there is just taking such a toll on the body.
A huge toll on the body, a couple of tons of pressure across those guys' shoulders and neck. They have to try and deal with that all the time.
She has wrapped up well. So Fraser Brown in the heart of the Scottish front row. He's well bandaged now. But Scotland have been for the last 10 minutes experiencing a good deal of pressure from Argentina. The initial pressure was all with Scotland, and down it goes this time. It felt as if it was going forward Scotland's way. Penalty to Scotland, offside Martin Landajo.
Landajo that's penalised, isn't it? He's offside. He must have got ahead of the ball. I think I'm not sure. It was opposite the far side. It looks at the ball. So he squirted out the scrum, didn't it? Better second phase from Scotland there, mate. The ball's not out the scrum at all. Landajo just creeps offside.
Come on, you know.
And Russell kicks for touch.
You know.
And Ben O'Keefe there just having a word with Martin Landajo. You know. And I think he does. So it's just gone a little bit quieter in Murrayfield. There's a certain air of tension. 5 minutes to go in this first half. Just those two penalties from Greg Laidlaw. And Scotland back into the Argentinian half. And safely taken down by Barkley. Maitland coming in off the wing again. Just a little bit of a slip from the New Zealand-born winger.
It's fine.
And Argentina think they might have it, and they do get the scrum. Laidlaw bemused.
Argentina were in position. They won it cleanly.
It's very hard to get any momentum in a game like this when everything is stop-start. I mean, we're not seeing a huge amount of multi-phase play. You kind of get a little bit fractious, you get a little bit cranky, you're kind of waiting for the next chance to get the ball to do something with it, forcing things a little bit too much, a little bit sloppy at the breakdown.
It's Crevy again, isn't it? He's a perfect shape for that jackal position, getting over the ball. But they do it in numbers. It was three players there. Argentina really putting pressure on the ball carrier to try and win that turnover.
So the final few minutes of this first half.
Fine.
And again, two sides that can be so enterprising and entertaining, and there were signs of life early in the match, but it's become a much more cagey affair, and a lot of scrums here. Down it goes. Use it, says the referee. So away we go. And Juan Martin Hernandez again finding a low one into touch, and Hogg, no thoughts here of a quick one.
It's good game management, isn't it? Hernandez, 65th cap. He just knew exactly what he was doing, found the space, dribbled it. Stuart Hogg, the Scotland fullback, was sitting back deep in from another dominant scrum by the Argentinians. He just says, I'll take all that space, all that territory.
The forwards just love it.
Come down.
They lift their head up from the scrum and suddenly the ball is 40 metres in front of them. That's an easy jog.
Down.
So Fraser Brown looking to hit his mark again. And this time
go for the ball.
it is taken down by Fagerson. I'm sure that went entirely according to plan,
Ruck's
but it's
over, Ruck's
Scotland's
over.
ball. And Laidlaw with the box kick. Forward. Here comes the winger, Matthias Moroni, and takes it well. So Argentina with another chance to attack. And Matera just tries to brush his way past, and Argentina do have a penalty, not releasing the man.
No clear release.
Well, it's good to see this one again.
Shot called.
And an interesting decision by Argentina. I think it's the right decision to go for goal, to register some points. They have had a lot of pressure since Scotland's second penalty, when Scotland failed to take care of the restart. But good to see that one again, because Hamish Watson was in. It's whether the tackle's complete. Matera carries, and yes, yeah, good call by Ben O'Keefe. Matera's knee is on the ground, the tackle's completed. Hamish Watson, although he's not on the ground, must give clear release. Not a lot on it, but a good call by referee.
So it will be Sanchez, his penalty attempt. Man has played a couple of times against Scotland, has lost both times. But an opportunity to get points on the board for Argentina. It's a good kick. It is a very, very good kick indeed. And Argentina at least gets something for all their efforts. And I don't think many of us would have predicted 6-3 at this stage of the match, because again both sides again have shown just how good they can be in attack, but it's settled into a bit of a cagey match.
It's just a number of mistakes, isn't it? I think there's intent to play, but the game's not being allowed to get started by the knock-ons and the unforced errors.
So Scotland with the hanging restart this time, but taken down well by Matera.
Taken back.
And Argentina try and come from some depth through Juan Martin Hernandez, a veteran of the side now. Hernandez, 34. And Tukelet takes a bit of time. But finds touch. And so we'll have time for one final passage of play. Again, all the noise and the buzz around Murrayfield last week, it's replaced by something a little bit quieter this week.
I think this is where Scotland have to make an effort to try and obviously to double the effort to try and get some points here. You can make a big psychological effect in the game here by really scoring points so close to half time. It's a good attacking lineup, and energy should be up, and you should be really putting Argentina under pressure and trying to score points just before going into changing rooms.
So Brown long, too long this time over the top of Barkley, so it's Argentina with the final attack as the clock goes red.
Advantage is over.
Ramiro Herrera, big barrel of a man, and then the little... Well, I thought it was a spill, but the gather again from Guido Petti. So Argentina pop it over the top, and Maitland over his head takes it well, calls the mark, and what will be the decision might just be to pop it out. Head for the sheds, as our Antipodean friends would say. So Maitland does just that. I'd say interesting half in its own way. No tries, just 3 penalties in it. So Vern Cotter goes in to give his chat, and I wonder what he might be saying.
Well, they'll definitely look for more detail and accuracy in the second half. They'll maybe look at making 1 or 2 points for the set piece to allow them to launch their game and put pressure on the Argentinians.
Half time, Scotland 6, Argentina 3.
Vern Cotter will be looking for the Scottish guys to keep their hands on the ball for much longer, build through the phases, and then try and get their dangerous ball players on the ball and their dangerous runners running at space. I think it's that ball retention. I really do. The Argentinians aren't putting a huge amount of pressure on their line speed and defence. They're allowing Scotland to play. So, they'll, you know, if they can keep the ball in and around the breakdown, then it should allow them to be more effective.
Ladies and gentlemen, the second half is about to get underway. Please put your hands together for Argentina! And now, let's hear it for Scotland!
Yes, looking around the pitch, can't see any changes from either side, so as we were, and Juan Martin Hernandez gets this second half underway. Just that one penalty, the difference between the sides, and you see there the great restart from Juan Martin Hernandez, just lofted it, able to be knocked back, but Scotland have to work hard on those restarts because an immediate opportunity for Argentina. Landajo gives it to Sanchez, flings it to Juan Martin Hernandez, and carried on there by Matias Orlando, the outside centre. So Scotland immediately on the back foot, an advantage to Argentina. High tackle by Scotland, I think it might have been Hogg, and Sanchez gives it out to Cordero, very lively winger, great try scoring record.
Still playing penalty advantage.
Still advantage to Argentina. So loose head prop Lucas Nogueira just tumbles into the challenge, and all the way back they come for that advantage. So from Scottish terms, it was Hogg with a high tackle. It's been a that's what we're talking about. That is now a high tackle, whereby it wouldn't have been perhaps in recent seasons.
No, and I think it's a little bit of the manoeuvring from World Rugby just to try and get the tackle lower, just for safety reasons, to make certain that, no, we would say that that's fine for the most part, but it's this ongoing push just to bring it a bit lower, to bring it down to chest height if at all possible. And you know, for the safety of the game, even though it's frustrating sometimes for the old fogies like us, it is something that is needed.
Absolutely interesting decision there as well, wasn't it? Hernandez up and pop in the corner just inside the 22.
Wasn't the best kick to touch by Hernandez. Oh, and down goes the man taking it. I think it was Matera up there, but Argentina still have it, and
Scotland was there.
It wasn't Matera, and Javi Ortega was having a little bit of a discussion afterwards.
Steven!
But Argentina's ball, they're being shoved sideways.
And it's a tackle now.
It's still there with Argentina. I think Matera at the heart of things now.
It was a tackle. They broke off.
Landajo complains again and just instructs his troops. So penalty advantage again to Argentina. Offside Alan Dell. So Argentina again a free attack, and they've had all the play at the start of the second half. Messy start by Scotland. Matera just gives it to Landajo. Left it goes to Sanchez. Little chip chance to nothing taken by Greg Laidlaw. Calls the mark, but they'll come back for that penalty advantage. And Laidlaw and Orlando, some unnecessariness, if that is a word, which it isn't.
Little bit of silly handbags and nothing more than that, really. Looks far worse than it actually is.
Nobody wants to give up, doesn't it? Nobody wants to back down first, but Scotland will be frustrated as Laidlaw takes a word from Tukule as well. Gives one back.
Okay, so just put the ball straight down, Greg.
Yeah.
Just leave.
We're gonna, the frustrating thing from a Scotland point of view is that's two penalties in the opening 2 minutes of the second half.
Number one was offside at the ruck.
There's one, you can hear the referee there, Alan Dale, offside at the ruck. This is where the handbags come. There's not a lot in that, Greg, should just walk away, but he's proud, he's pumping his chest out.
He's a bit ratty, isn't he?
He's a bit ratty, but all minds are great, and that's what drives him forward. Is he leads Scotland so well on and off the field. An absolute, metronomic goal kicker.
On the line.
But he controls the referee well, he controls the game well, and maybe he's just looking to set that example to really take on these Argentinians and try and bring a spark to the game.
But the next opportunity will go to Nicolas Sanchez, an opportunity to draw Argentina level right at the start of the second half, and Argentina again with all the play, so 3 points for their efforts there, and we are all square here at Murrayfield.
Coach will be disappointed with that, Vern Cotter. Scotland lost the kick-off, they then conceded a penalty, and then from that line out conceded a second penalty. Quite frustrating.
Let's watch the restart here from Finn Russell. Again, he just dropped it on his sixpences. Juan Martin Hernandez does a little bit further and taken in comfortably enough by Kundo Issa. And then Lucas Nogueira Paz, the loose head.
Taken back.
And Tukule clears with some distance, but an opportunity for Hogg. Haven't been too many today. Sees it forward, thinks he can skirt his way around Javi Ortega. Barkley. And Magnus Bradbury. A powerful youngster, Bradbury. Ugly enough pass from Laidlaw to Gilchrist, but then he set himself in and bounced off Guido Ketty. It was better from Scotland, and Russell gives it on to Hamish Watson, had to take man and ball just about at the same time, lays it back. And then the ball loose, and it's fine, says the referee, as Sanchez came through, so Scotland all the way back, and under a lot of pressure, Finn Russell, but skirts and rides the tackle, then sets himself away, and it looks wide now. Out it goes to Hogg. Hogg gives it on, a bit of space out wide now for Bradbury. Bradbury is being held by Orlando, dragging the Argentinian outside centre with him. Barkley on his own. Lost, says the referee. But it's still with Scotland.
The ball's there.
The ball's there for Greg Laidlaw's chirping away. The East stand boos, and a penalty to Scotland eventually from the referee Brian O'Keefe.
We're smiling up here, you know, when you have a scrum half just barking in the ear of the referee. He's in the way. He wasn't in the way at all. He couldn't move. There was nothing that could happen. The ref had said the ball is there, but I love it. A little bit of confusion.
It was a game of bluff, wasn't it? Wasn't it? The ball was there to play, but calmness for Greg Laidlaw and the communication with the ref as well.
And then you see, then after the decision's given, Laidlaw's almost his arm around the referee, saying, "Yeah, we're all friends. You and me, we're on the same side."
Thanks for looking after me, ref.
Anyway, Creevy there. Penalty was hard done by.
You do have to make an effort. I mean, he's not interfering with the ball, but you do have to make an effort to get out, just to get out the referee's vision at least.
He is very tired.
So Scotland with the line out, and Brown finds Barkley again, who's just flung up into the heavens to take that one down. And there is Hamish Watson. Little pocket battleship straight into Issa, but he came off rather better. And Johnny Gray heaving himself on, and Scotland into the 22 for the first time in a while. Gilchrist to Barkley in attendance. Penalty to Argentina. And the crowd from that roar and anticipation falls silent.
That is such a pity. Just watching Magnus Bradbury, two facets of that play. He was stuck in far beyond his years, doing the right thing. He's actually far more energy in the second half than he had at the first. He's already grown into international rugby, and it just went a little bit too wide. And when there's a gap there, sometimes you can just see the Argentinians just pouncing down on top of it, and that's quite strong enough to get in over.
Yeah, I think he's been outstanding, Marcus Bradbury. 5 carries, 2 defenders beaten. He's actually beaten more defenders in the Pro 12 than any other forward. I think 26 defenders beaten, scored 4 tries, and it's like a duck to water this afternoon. Really impressive start.
Augustine Creevy's shirt is losing the battle, but the hooker, the captain of the Pumas, finds his man, and Argentina come again through Sanchez onto Juan Martin Hernandez. Deep it goes now, and carried in by the right winger Matias Moroni. Sanchez gives it on to Ramiro Herrera.
Roll 5!
One gear, one direction.
Thank you, 5.
And quite deep now for Argentina, given on through Matera and on to Tukelet, and Tukelet almost through, taken down well by Fraser Brown. Had to make the tackle, but Tukelet again making some ground. Juan Martin Hernandez gives it on to Matera. Carried in fact by Javi Ortega. Now Argentina again on the charge.
Let him go! Tackle!
Making some good ground here. Landajo's turn to complain, and he gets the penalty. The advantage there for Argentina, so Landajo has a little go himself, and still advantage to Argentina. Carried on now by Facundo Issa, the number 8. Still advantage to Argentina. Back it comes to Juan Martin Hernandez, and it's Cordero to the chase, and Cordero gathers and finds it's taken in. It's not. It's going to be a try for Matias Orlando is there, the outside centre on the wing. First try of the game. It goes to Argentina. They had the advantage and they made it pay. Beautifully placed kick by Juan Martin Hernandez, and Matias Orlando was in the right place at the right time.
Excellent score by the outside centre, wasn't it? Good relationship between him and his inside centre, as you say, Hernandez. And that was just a wonderful kick, because a shot to nothing in many ways. It did have a penalty advantage, but look at the accuracy, the communication. There's Hernandez taking all the time in the world. He gets fortunate with the bounce, but the reaction to the bounce and then the power to drive through the tackle. He's been impressive, Orlando, in this game. Had a bust line break in the first half, and a try so far in the second.
Hernandez, the ability to kick any kick, and I don't know how lucky it was. That was just beautifully stroked, bounced up perfectly, and a big bosh in over the line, score under the post.
There's not a lot of space to aim for, wasn't there, between Maitland and Hogg, but as you say, Hernandez found it, and Daniel Hooker, look at the passion there from the head coach.
So Matias Orlando, his fourth try for Argentina, and the first try in this game has rather stunned Murrayfield, but Argentina have been the livelier side in this second half. And a chance for Nicolas Sanchez to extend that lead, which he does. So Argentina converted, try clear, and the Pumas fans inside Murrayfield are waving the flag. This is the kick. You can see onside as well.
It's onside, but it's already wide. Being so wide allows you to come in on the ball. You're not chasing it. You can accelerate onto the ball if the bounce is there. And you can see Hogg and Maitland in the background. That pinpoint accurate kick from Hernandez allows Orlando to finish.
There's a couple of changes being made as we watch that. Scotland making the changes, and Xander Fagerson is off. Murray Lowe is on, and Magnus Bradbury I think has come off as well. Ryan Wilson going on.
Outside. Outside.
So changes in the front row and the back row for Scotland. And Argentina a bit of conference now, and carried on by Juan Martin Hernandez. Hernandez looking for support. Wonderful break by the Pumas. Pressure comes in though, and Scotland look to secure that ball, but it's still there for Pablo Matera, the blindside flanker for Argentina. And Scotland up against it at the moment. Landajo looking to either forwards. And carried in by Javier Ortega Decio, the open side flanker. Back it comes to Sanchez now, to Juan Martin Hernandez. Hernandez is full of life at the moment, but then the spill. And it's gathered in by Hamish Watson. And the game just opening up a little bit. Johnny Gray gives it back to Stuart Hogg, and Scotland have to try and meet fire with adventurous fire to show that they can play as well. And perhaps that try, the best thing to happen to this game. Carried in by Ryan Wilson, replacement back rower. Then lost forward, hacked clear by Martin Landajo, but penalty given by the referee.
Hands in the rack.
And it came out the side illegally is the reason.
The game badly needed that try. I know it's not great from a Scottish perspective, but they have to react now. It's how they get into this game over the next 5 or 6 minutes. There has been some changes made. Will the bench put the energy in that it didn't put in last weekend?
It's a big player from Argentina driving that fight back, isn't it? Hernandez, this is the penalty, hands in the rack from Argentina. As soon as you go off your feet, I think that's Tuchel. He must release the ball, but Argentina. Before that there was a wonderful break by Hernandez from an offload, sumptuous offload by Sanchez. But Scotland managed to get back and win the penalty.
So how does Scotland respond? Fraser Brown complains about the line out, says this is where the ball went out, and Argentina stealing a couple of yards. And there's the noise of Murrayfield again, and Brown goes long, taken down at the back. There's Ryan Wilson who rose, and now Scotland try and get a bit of a maul going. Fraser Brown has it, the hooker. Laidlaw looking and giving now to his backline, and Dunbar is in such a quiet game, the inside centre, and Scotland again, a bit of width given to it now, and Hugh Jones still shrugs off one man. Jones still going, looking for support, it's there for Maitland, scored by Sean Maitland, made by Hugh Jones, and Scotland hit back in style, and this game has sprung to life.
Wow, what a comeback by Scotland in the last 5 minutes. It's that man Hugh Jones again, isn't it? 2 tries last week and a try save an interception. Well, he's continued it this week. He's hobbling a little bit there, but I think it's because his feet are on fire. Outside break, and then the power and the panache to give the offload to Sean Maitland, supporting on the outside for the try in the right hand corner.
Every single part of that was perfect. The throw from Fraser all the way to the end, beautiful, great maul, great attack, and you saw Dunbar had a good hit up into the centre, great feet just before the contact. But when the ball is really moved very, very quickly here, again, feet, step, handoff, strength, ability and poise, and knowing where his man is and making certain that ball gets into his hands. Great score by Maitland.
And he's running off the injuries. Still hobbling a little bit, and good Dr. James Robson is watching him from afar with keen eyes, but an opportunity for Scotland to draw level. Very, very difficult conversion for a right footer. Bringing it round so well. What a kick that is from Greg Laidlaw. It makes it with its last dying breath. It crawls over. And that is a superb kick, and Scotland are level here. And again, a very, very different game now.
He may be ratty, but boy, can he kick. A fantastic conversion from right on the right edge.
And there's a throw you're on about, Keith, to tail the run out, so it's much harder to defend a drive at a tail. And this is Hugh Jones beating 3 defenders, Orlandi, I think it's Issa and Cordero, and then under all that pressure getting the offload away to Sean Maitland, who's a quality finisher.
Well, Argentina making a change as well. Leonardo Senatore is coming on for Facundo Issa. So change right at the base of the scrum, and the restart again. Messi there. Hamish Watson takes it in.
19!
And deep it goes to Finn Russell.
Got it! Wait! 5!
Sends it long. Joaquin Tukelet, full-back. Very composed player. There's a huge amount of height on it.
Backwards by Scotland!
And eventually it comes back the way of I thought it was Argentina's, and
here it is.
some of anybody's at the moment. I think it's there for Argentina now. So winning the aerial battle, Landajo barks instructions and gives it on. And there is Juan Martin Hernandez again, and carried in by Javier Ortega Decio. And there is Pablo Matera.
Thank you.
So on to Cordero, then wide it goes, and Tukelet again. Plenty of blue shots around him. Landajo complains to Ben O'Keefe again. And carried in by the replacement, Leonardo Senatore. Now an opportunity once again for Argentina. Taken on by Pablo Matera, the blind side.
Thank you,
Still there for the Pumas, and slick handling eventually finds its way to Ramiro Herrera. The slick handling ends there, but plenty of muscle. Going through the phases, Landajo slapping his thighs in frustration. Tries to sneak through, Laidlaw scrags him around the collar. Hamish Watson in there trying to disrupt. Herrera again. Ramming speed. So Argentina creeping forward. Cordero coming in to play scrum half. And stolen, but
You knocked it on.
little knock on, says the referee. And Laidlaw getting involved again, and in come larger friends.
Every time, son. Augustine. Greg.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, guys, no, listen. Augustine. Guys, from both teams. Any little taps on the face, anything like that, we can't have any of it, okay? Because if they do, they might find themselves in the bin. Alright? Let's go. Greg, you've hit it out of his hand, so you've got to knock on. Let's go. Come on. Okay, subs.
That seems clear enough.
Yeah.
It's given that.
A couple of replacements we made there just to watch those replays, and there's a little tap there from Landajo. That is quality scrum half on scrum half action from Landajo. Wasn't even looking, just a little slap on the back of the head for Laidlaw. As those changes are made and Hugh Jones is off, he has not quite had the dynamic input of last week's match, but certainly a telling contribution in the last few minutes, and limping off now.
He has been some fine for Scotland over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's born in Edinburgh, schooled in England at Millfield School, and then obviously played in South Africa. But he has had a huge impact in his opening 3 tests for Scotland, obviously in Japan, and then last week and this week.
He's off. Landajo replaced by Thomas Kubeli. Very, very good scrum half, very good running, attacking scrum half as well, Kubeli. But Landajo's last action was the slap on the Laidlaw bonce.
I think Laidlaw's trying to drive his team forward. He's certainly took a backward step there as well. Pretty emotional guy, as is Landajo. Great battle at 9.
And watch Kubeli now, the scrum half on for Argentina. Well, they have the advantage. The penalty is surely coming here for Argentina. There it is. And again, it's not just the penalty, the immediate reward, it's the knowledge that you have the edge.
Staying straight.
It's all that work that they did in the first half. It's making certain that every scrum tells. And I know there's been a couple of changes, but you can just see that whoosh that happened when the ball went into the scrum there.
And the kick for touch from Juan Martin Hernandez is a very decent one indeed, and it'll be an Argentinian line out deep inside the Scottish 22.
Scotland just too high. You can see it in that replay, just too high in that scrum and contact.
And you see possession in the second half, and a very different tale.
Step down, Scotland!
To well, certainly the first quarter of the match. And Argentina growing a little bit in confidence, and the referee wants a
guys, you need to control your team to keep them down, okay?
So Crevi finds his man, and Argentina will try and get this ball going forward, which they are doing. The forwards feel they have the edge there. Down it goes, and the referee's decision is we will just play on. So Kubeli, the scrum half, replacement scrum half, will have to dig away for the ball, but Scotland have the scrum.
Yeah, it's a maul, just like a choke tackle. Johnny Gray did wonderful well to get in there on the wrong side of the maul, if you like, immediately, and he has all the rights in the world to be there.
I thought an awful lot. Half the Argentinian pack ran back to get into the position. You need to make certain you have the ball first and foremost.
So into the final quarter of this match, and 13 points apiece. Again, a reminder in terms of world rankings that Scotland looking to move above Argentina into the top 8 with a victory here.
Johnny Gray is such an impressive player, isn't it? He does everything really, really well. He carries, he tackles, big interventions in games like that. A wonderful, wonderful talent.
He's a nuisance as well, you know, against other forwards. He's very annoying. He irritates a lot of packs to play against him.
Oh, big scrum.
Come up.
And we'll do it again. Yeah, 24 tackles from 24 last week, Johnny Gray. I think Stephen Moore was the same, but he is almost always the top tackler in any.
He's
any
the top of all
play.
stats. Last week I think he had something like 23 carries. He also had something like 17 or 18 passes, so that could have been almost 40 carries, 12 tackles this week. He's on an incredible, I think, 3-figure run of consecutive tackles for his club at Glasgow. It's over 100 tackles without missing one. He just sets examples, he leads by example, and he's a wonderful talent, a wonderful player.
And again, the pressure on the Scotland scrum here.
5, 6.
And you can see that pressure, in Scotland in all sorts of trouble at the scrum. The penalty to Argentina, and that was an absolute demolition job in the Scottish scrum there by Argentina. Personnel have changed in the packs, and you can see it's a far more uneven contest now.
It is, and much and all, as we were criticising Ferguson earlier on, he was going down in the scrum, but you have to have your body height right. If you're not in the right position, you get pushed back at all. The way Argentina used to scrum and the way they scrum still is the second they sniff a tiny bit of weakness, they chase every single bit of this. Look at the whoosh again here, just at the pressure. It's up high on the loose head side or tight head side, and then bang, in you go.
That's why Scotland miss desperately. They'd love to have sort of Xander Ferguson as the backup to Willem Nel, to WP Nel, who's still struggling a little bit with the neck injury. They're not too far away from coming back, but makes a huge difference to the scrum, and you need to have that depth. And Argentina have decided to go for the posts, and Sanchez to try and take the lead. There's a rather easy swipe there, beautifully struck by Sanchez, and Argentina in front. I think Scotland almost would accept the 3 points there, because they were buckling so badly at scrum time. I know that sounds strange, but they can come back now to halfway and try and reset and go again.
If they had another 5 minutes of scrums, they could have taken an awful lot out of them, so maybe that wasn't the best decision from Argentina.
Well, Russell Long, and nobody taking that for Argentina at all at the restart, and into touch goes Juan Martin Hernandez, and Argentina were just giddy with celebrations at the 3 points and didn't know what was happening at the restart. That was a rare mistake at the restart from Argentina.
It is, it's such a big space, and Finn Russell finds it so well. I can only think it's maybe down to substitutions that Senatores came on. He's maybe lined up as if he used to playing in the back row or the second row. Somebody's not fulfilled their duties and picked up the position.
Well, Scotland have to try and avoid scrums and use their other set pieces well, but it goes long over Gilchrist, and Argentina come away, and Cravey, the captain, new shirt on his back, and a mistake by Scotland reprieves Argentina. Juan Martin Hernandez, will he give a little blind pass there that didn't work well, so Scotland have it and come again through Laidlaw. Out it goes, Dell is there, Barkley on hand, and Barkley will try and take it on, but he's well watched and rolled to the ground. But Scotland given another opportunity, and Russell, who's had a quieter game, he's been well watched by the Argentinian defence.
You're on your knee.
And Sanchez told he can't get in there because he's down on one knee. Out to Johnny Gray. And 2 or 3 bodies quickly on him. There is Ryan Wilson trying to get it back. Slowly there for Laidlaw to look and give it on to Gilchrist. And Gilchrist with Murray low. Carried on by Johnny Gray, almost into his own man in Peter Hong, who's on the field. Still there for Scotland, but Murray low feeling the hit there, and Argentina just punching Scotland back and turning this one over, perhaps. No, carried in by Hamish Watson now. Nothing much doing in attack here for Scotland though. The gang of forwards carried in through Barkley. And then Fraser Brown. And the Argentinian defence is up so quickly. And Fraser Brown lays it back. Scotland looking for something to happen. An opening to appear. Murray Lowe shoves it out wide and carried in by Barkley again. Advantage to Scotland. And penalty is there for them. So Hogg, little step, and Hogg almost through himself. And Hogg now looking for support. Finds it from Horn. Horn up to within 7 metres of the line. Scotland still with the advantage. Gilchrist, and suddenly the pace as the lock forward fires in. Out it comes to Hogg again, trying to skip his way through a forest of defenders. Still there for Scotland, Laidlaw, but he's thrown back. Scotland still, although the referee hasn't said still, with the advantage, and carried in, laid back now, and Watson is there. Watson stays on his feet and then burrows his way on up to within 5 metres. Still advantage, penalty there to Scotland as they were bearing down on the line.
Number 2 fell on the wrong side, not rolling.
And you see Cravey, Agustin Cravey, the captain, well, not moving away, falling on the wrong side.
So close. There's not a lot in this game. That's a really good set of attack from Scotland. I thought they could have moved the ball a little bit quicker a couple of times in those phases. Got to 16 odd phases and they've won the penalty. Cravey penalised again in and around the breakdown. Stuart Hogg had a crack down the short side. There's Hamish Watson driving forward, and our friend Cravey's in there again somewhere, Keith.
I just love the intensity of that passage of play from Scotland. You know, they've a total change in the last 5 minutes, and they badly need to play at that pace.
They had a penalty advantage there. We saw Argentina's try from a penalty advantage. Do you think there's so little in the game that's a cue for the teams to come alive and attack?
It's a bit of a freebie. They have to go for it.
So shot at goal for Greg Laidlaw. Fraser Brown's going to come off as well after this kick, and Ross Ford going to come on at hooker for Scotland. Not the prettiest kick, but through it goes. 12.5 minutes to go, 16 points apiece. Again, we build it as likely to be close, and so it is proving. Now, what have we said? Restarts, and that one there cost Argentina. Ultimately, the 3 points came from, you can trace it back to source when nobody took the restart. So Hernandez, he just wafts it forward. Who's there to take it? Watson. Nobody takes it for Scotland, and then it's on the ground and claimed eventually. Vern Cotter furiously taking notes to practice restarts more. Give it on to Watson. He's a hard man to stop. He's not a big man at all, but he's sort of square.
Thank you, 18. Stay.
And up it goes from Laidlaw and forward. Taking it well is Seymour. He really is a master in the air. Doesn't have too much else to do in the game, and Laidlaw thinks there's some space back there over the head of Joaquin Tuchel, but it's going to bounce too far, or not quite. Well placed, and in it comes, and Juan Martin Hernandez seems to buy himself a little bit of time, look comfortable. Seymour takes it, Russell now into Hogg, and Hogg has Watson alongside. Then that familiar step from Hogg, the acceleration, and Hogg almost through, gets the offload to Maitland, who is flung to the ground by Cordero. Great tackle by the winger. Back it comes for Scotland still through Wilson to the ground to Laidlaw. Fine, says the referee, as Peter Horn jinks into a challenge. Carried in by Murray Lowe.
Yep. Yes, he's good.
Still there for Scotland, and Laidlaw gets things going again. Wilson once more is driving his way on. Little pause for Scotland. Gilchrist comes in to pick up and drive himself on the lock forward. Barkley. Johnny Gray. Not the greatest pass, but he took it well enough. Drive on once more. Wilson is there, and Laidlaw looks and feeds Gray, and he to his second row partner Gilchrist. Scotland moving through the phases again. A switch from Laidlaw, and Russell, little show, and then gives it on to Watson. Now danger as Argentina counter. Tuchel sends it long, and the frantic race back is there. Hogg, here's Cordero with him, and Hogg does well, but Cordero quickly upon the full back, and Hogg says he was calling, and gets the penalty.
That is absolutely brilliant by Stuart Hogg, and stupid by the Argentinian player. Hogg stayed down deliberately to almost milk that penalty, knowing he has to be allowed to get back up. And it was just a daft one with all the momentum going against Scotland.
It is. It must be so frustrating as an Argentinian to see that coaches and players alike. You want to make, as a chaser, you want to be imposing, you want to get up and win the ball, but Hoggy knows exactly what he's doing. Slides, he has a little glance, doesn't he? Cordero's there, and he's got all the rights until he makes the effort to get back to his feet. He has to do almost, the loss is immediately, but he bought himself half a second. Cordero, a silly penalty.
So quick Cordero there, because Hogg is lightning, and he was making ground. A lot of changes coming on at the moment. Argentina making a couple of changes in the pack. I see that Santiago Garcia Bota is on. Agustín Crevy is off, so Julian Montoya is beyond at hooker. Clearing down, see Ramiro Herrera going off. So they've changed their entire front row, in fact. So Montoya, Garcia Bota, and Pierretto, the young prop, is on at tight head as well. So that's it. We get to 70 minutes. The front row got a full 70 minutes there. The changes made. I wonder how that will affect things in the scrum. And also Gilchrist is off for Scotland in the second row, so Tim Swinson is on in his place. And this is when the squad depth tells, because 9 minutes to go, 16 points apiece. Who has the better reserves? Good drive on by Scotland this time. And Ryan Wilson holding at the back. He's been impressive since he's come on. Laidlaw in to add a few kilos. Now gives it to Russell. Huge pass out wide to Hogg. A little bit of a slip as well from Maroney in defence for Argentina. Hogg tries to hand off one and make his way around another up to the fringes of the 22. Russell again, and Scotland moving well now through Ross Ford. Still there for Scotland. Laidlaw making sure the referee knows Ryan Wilson slapping bodies that he feels shouldn't be there. Peter Horn taken down well. Scotland looking for what they hope would be a killer try. Good tackle coming in on Ryan Wilson. Much more of a buzz around Murrayfield now. Scotland going through the phases. Can they find the killer move? Hamish Watson again, he makes such ground. You wouldn't expect him to, but driving his way past lock forward Alemano there. And on comes Scotland again. A little bit of a spill, went backwards, says the referee. Oh, Laidlaw did so well to just scoop that up into the
by Argentina.
Hands of Barkley.
Knock on only.
Argentina set their defence again. 7.5 minutes remaining. Back it goes, drop goal attempt for Finn Russell, takes his time and it's wide,
Time's over. 22.
Well, Finn Russell will be frustrated. I think they worked the position well. Arguably they could have taken 2 or 3 more phases, given themselves a little bit more time. Maybe went to the drop goal option a little bit too soon. It was a good position. I think he just slid it off to the right hand side, just outside that right hand post, under a little bit of pressure. But a good attack by Scotland, good continuity. But I think he could have had a little bit more patience there, Keith.
Yeah, it just seemed to be a little bit too early. You know, he could have attacked a couple of more options just to try and see if he could pull some people out of place.
It just gives, with that wide drop goal attempt, just gives Argentina a breather, a chance to take stock, because all the momentum was with Scotland. Carried in by Ryan Wilson again, had to go off early a match against Australia last week with an injury. And Ross Ford carrying 3 or 4 men with him. Good drive by Ford. Argentina trying to hold him up. Pablo Matera doing the work there, and they might have held him up. And the decision is scrum to Argentina. And they knew it there. Matera was at the base of things there. Ford did such good work initially, but then that is the classic sort of choke tackle, holding the man up, making sure he can't get to ground.
Was it Matera so strong? Yes, great carry initially by Ross Ford. Is it? Alex Allen's joining us now in the front row, maybe to counteract the changes in the Argentinian front row. There's the ground made initially by Ford, and it's Matera. You can see him working really hard to get his feet and his legs underneath Ross Ford. And it's all about when the referee calls maul, when that tackle becomes a maul.
That was extraordinary play by Matera. To be able to hold him up, he was in a position to go to ground and still hold him up.
The man coming on for Argentina now is Jeronimo de la Fuente. So he comes on in the back line. You can see, because he can play a few positions, so he's replacing Matias Moroni, the winger.
That has to be one of the best names in international rugby, Geronimo de la Fuente.
It is it's exotic, dynamic. Now, here we are, just over 5 minutes remaining in this match. So many changes, the benches have just about been emptied. You almost feel for Ali Price, the Scotland backup scrum half, because he's the one replacement who you suspect won't get used, because Laidlaw always stays until the bitter end. So Ali Price waiting for his debut, the young scrum half.
6.
Now how will the scrum fare with all these changes? Flung to the back by Kubeli. Was solid for a moment from Scotland. And Argentina really did have the upper hand. Things have changed a bit now, so Kubeli gives it out to Juan Martin Hernandez, who's looked so lively in this second half.
Turnover's good.
Turnover is good, says the referee, so carried on by Laidlaw. And Scotland another chance to attack. In comes Ryan Wilson to play scrum half, given on to Johnny Gray, who's chopped around the ankles. Good tackle by Juan Manuel Leguizamo, very experienced back rower. Given on to Finn Russell, flings it deep now to Hogg, little chip over the top, and it might be, well, it's reasonably well placed, and all Nicolas Sanchez can do is carry it into touch. It'll be Scotland's line out, and they're giving themselves the platform, the opportunity here, Scotland, to win this game.
Yeah, that came from a turnover by Hamish Watson, and I think Sanchez, well, he doesn't have an argument here. I think he's saying his foot was already over the line, but you can clearly see he slid in. This is Watson's turnover. So quick in Hernandez, and then Stuart Hogg decided to kick from this ruck and put all the pressure back onto Argentina.
Now lineouts for Scotland are beginning to look a little bit suspect, perhaps. Noise around Murrayfield, extraordinary again. Swinson takes it down, and down it goes. Penalty advantage to Scotland. So again, a free attack here now for Scotland. Nothing coming there, so penalty, and it will be surely one decision, although not an easy kick for Greg Laidlaw.
Tackle the lifter. Tackle the lifter.
So there is the instruction. Tackling the lifter is the Leonardo Senatore given the talking to.
You have to wait for the jumper to hit the ground, and the second he hits the ground you can pull down the jumper or the lifter in by way of a tackle. If you do it before he hits the ground, it becomes a penalty. That's a technical error, but a really simple error to make in this place in the field, and you need composure, and Argentina have showed none.
Well, there's a man who kicked a few kicked a few goals for Scotland in your time, Chris Patterson. You always felt that this corner down here was a little bit mischievous as well at Murrayfield.
Yeah, that was usually because he stands a little bit lower in the west stand, that far away side. There's a bit of wind whistles round here. It's a dead calm this evening, a crisp sort of early winter's night, and Greg Laidlaw's knocked over a conversion from that area of the field already, and he'll be using that to give him all the knowledge to try and stroke this over.
Well, he landed it from a very, very tight position. The conversion right out in the touchline. This one fractionally easier. This one to give Scotland the lead. Too much, perhaps. It's coming round and off the post again, but who's quickest to it now? Scotland trying to react, trying to get that ball. Greg Laidlaw was cursing his luck. Same upright that he hit against Australia, but it's there for Scotland now. And still a chance to win this match, so close. It might be a drop goal opportunity. Finn Russell sitting deep, sitting in the pocket. Laidlaw looking to the forwards, but he knows it's for Russell. Not this time, not yet. Johnny Gray. Little bit of diversion from Laidlaw. The Argentinians waiting for the charge down on the drop goal attempt. Forwards carry it in, 2 minutes to go. Russell still there, still deep. Forwards again.
Here we go!
Argentina desperate for the turnover. It might be now Laidlaw. Russell not quite as deep, but here it is this time, and the charge down is there. And now Scotland have to get back, and Ryan Wilson's there along with Horn. Argentinian players pouring in, still with Scotland. But the scrum goes to Argentina, and the opportunity may have been lost. He wasn't quite as deep. I know he was trying to give himself the best territorial position there, but it was a great charge from Argentina.
Look at the pressure Senatore in his hand as well. I think he's bought it. I know it's easy sitting here, but arguably that was too late. The drop goal attempt earlier on was maybe too soon. I think they could have maybe gone that maybe a phase or so earlier, but there's still time in this game.
Well, it's time to do in these frenetic final moments man of the match, Chris.
Well, again, very difficult to call this week. I think from Argentina's side, Landagio's been he sets a tempo. Matera has always playing well, but that man in the middle of the screen, I think for me, fights off Hamish Watson for man of the match. Johnny Gray's stats are always outstanding. He leads by example. You can still see him communicating. His number of tackles, his number of carries, and just his influence around the park is second to none. Tonight's man of the match, Johnny Gray.
Well, the injured man is Peter Horn, who's involved when the chase back went there after the charge down. So Peter Horn in clear discomfort. And of course, again, as it was last week as well, there was the penalty itself that hit the post.
Yeah, that was, as Greg put in his own words, a lick of paint last week. That's a coat of paint. Look at the anguish. Oh, what does it mean to the supporters? How much influence can they have? Greg's frustrated, but he must believe there's another opportunity to win this game. You can't let these things stop you. Got to believe there's another opportunity to put pressure on this scrum. Argentina, well, they'll be looking to break out and win the game on their own.
Peter Horn is off. I think now we'll get this checked as well, that a draw, I think, would move Scotland above Argentina, but again, we'll look for confirmation of that. This was where Peter Horn took the injury. I think it was three Argentinians upon him, but I think maybe Ryan Wilson, his challenge with his own man might have injured him.
Looks like a dead leg, doesn't it? A dead leg on him, his upper thigh. But as I said before, both teams must see this as an opportunity to win the game, and how you attack, how you defend can influence that.
So Argentina throw everything into this scrum, looking for the penalty perhaps, and
use it!
Not giving way yet. Use it, says the referee. So out it comes from Kubeli to Sanchez, and on to Juan Martin Hernandez, trying to ease his way past Finn Russell. Russell looking to hold him up, and Hernandez looking to get to ground. There it is for, scrum to Scotland, and the seconds still give them some hope.
Yeah, another choke tackle, as it's become known.
Well, is the referee going to allow this scrum to take place?
Yeah, this is a big opportunity. I think it was Finn Russell, I think Alex Dunbar, Ryan Wilson in there as well, holding up Hernandez. The BT Murrayfield crowds finding its voice, trying to urge the home team on.
Clock is red now, but it wasn't when the scrum was awarded, so a final opportunity for Scotland, pretty much as it was against Australia last week.
And this will be interesting. I think since the change they made in the front row, the last 2 or 3 scrums have been reasonably stable, so it should be a good attacking opportunity for Scotland. Will Argentina pile on the pressure?
Looks to be buckling down, but the referee will say use it. So away they come. Finn Russell there now for Scotland, and wide it goes, carried on by Tommy Seymour. Seymour sliding his way towards the 22, still there for Laidlaw. Gives it on. Johnny Gray is there, and again he's taken round the bootlaces. And Argentina trying to stick paws in to disrupt. Laidlaw summoning in support, and Scotland trying to buy a position again, perhaps for a drop goal attempt.
Nice, keep there, don't.
And Argentina have to obey every instruction of the referee. Don't want to give away a penalty. Laidlaw again looking. Scotland once more going through the phases.
Roll! Yeah. He's holding him, let him go.
Still there just for Scotland, just outside the 22. Laidlaw again, too deep at the moment for a drop goal attempt. So Johnny Gray carries for the Pumas defence. Strong at the moment. Again, Scotland have been here before, and as they were last week, deep into red time, and the advantage is there. The penalty is there for Scotland, and Argentina have given Greg Laidlaw one final opportunity to win this game.
It's a no-arm tackle, Andrew.
No attempt to wrap. Shoulder.
Ask for the referees.
Don't need to. Back to him. Please.
One man, well, Leguizamon saying it's just a low tackle, but you can see his left arm. The ref comes after the contact. It has to be simultaneous. Leading with his shoulder, his elbow. Well, we're looking for where your elbow is. His elbow's beside his body. And who can't? Well, head coach, he can't look. We said Greg Laidlaw would have another opportunity. He said he had to believe there was going to be another opportunity to win this match. Well, here it is.
I mean, that tackle will be looked at. We'll look at that analysis afterwards again, I'm sure, because Juan Manuel Leguizamon certainly felt hard done by, but fingernails, even through gloves, are being chewed, and Laidlaw now to win this match for Scotland. This time, Greg Laidlaw delivers, and Murrayfield erupts. It is a victory. It's a hard-earned, a sometimes nervy, sometimes messy victory, but it is a victory over Argentina, and Scotland will move above the Pumas in the world rankings, and the smiles belong to Scotland this weekend.
Well, after coming so close last week, there was doubts or concerns over how Scotland would come back. Would they win a tight game? Can they deal with the pressure? Well, it was a contentious penalty. I believe it was a penalty, but Leguizamon will argue different. But Greg Laidlaw, after missing a conversion, missing a penalty minutes before, had the courage to step up and knock over a vital penalty for the Scotland win.
Well, Juan Manuel Leguizamon still complaining there, but he still has enough to slap Greg Laidlaw on the back and say well done, and all the Argentinian players do that now, and he will he'll feel so sick, Juan Manuel Leguizamon, but again the decision is made, and this is the kick that won the game for Scotland.
We're just going through your process here, treating it like any other kick. He had a wee nervous glance at Laidlaw, and there's a smile that followed up. He leads by example. He drives his team around the field. It was a bit gnarly, it was a bit aggressive today, and that was it, the passion coming out, and there's the reaction of the fans.
And again, all the sort of free-flowing style, the verve of last weekend was important, but the win this weekend for Scotland was so vital.
Absolutely vital. But it's always vital, isn't it? I think the performance last week was outstanding. There's the back room staff, the Scottish Rugby enjoying the moment as well, but the win was so vitally important because the teams are only one place apart in the world rankings, because there's so much riding on the result in terms of world ranking points for the World Cup draw in May. Scotland don't worry about that, really. The players don't worry about that. They worry about executing the skills on the field. An untidy first half in many ways, but a much better second half towards the end of the game by Scotland. They controlled it, they saw it out, and they got the victory.
Well, let us hear from the man who has just landed the winning kick. The captain of Scotland, Greg Laidlaw, is down with Sonia.
Greg, what on earth was going through your mind when you got that second chance to win this Test match for Scotland?
Thank goodness. Got a second chance. Was disappointed with the first one. That right hand post doesn't like me at the minute. I missed one there last week as well. So I thought we'd stuck in extremely well at the end there in a tight game, and we got down the right end of the field, and credit to the boys, we just muscled out, and we're delighted to win here at home.
You failed to close the game out against Australia. Were the doubts swirling in your mind that it might be deja vu?
No, the doubts weren't there. We were disappointed from the Australia game, but the pleasing thing is today we've learned quickly in a week. We're absolutely delighted. As I said, we've worked so hard all week. We worked so hard against Australia. We let the game go, and I thought the boys were outstanding. And again, to win at home today, there's no better feeling.
It got a bit feisty between you and your opposite number, Martin Tandajo. Was that an indication of what was at stake here in terms of getting Scotland into the top 8 in the world?
Yeah, absolutely. We knew what it was all about, and we're at home, so we're not going to take a backward step. They're pushing us and stuff off the ball, so we're only going to be shy and coming forward. So we'll look after ourselves.
Helps to have men like this to you on your right, doesn't it?
Yeah, the big man again. He was outstanding. He lost his brother this week, and himself and Gilco were brilliant in the middle row. As a credit, he puts his body through the mill every week.
Excellent. Johnny Gray, is it a sense of relief? Is that the overriding emotion?
We're delighted to win, and fair play to Greg for kicking it over there. And real determination. It shows what kind of cool the guy's got, and I thought he liked the team. But we were poor at times, which was disappointing. But to get the win back against a team like that was very happy about that.
So what does it say about this team that in the course of the week you found a mindset that you could close that game out, having failed to do it against Australia?
Well, we had to learn against Australia. It just shows you small margins, and came in the second half, and Argentina scored a great try, so it just shows small margins can make a big difference. But we had to guts it out against a strong Argentinian team, and we're proud about that.
There were times you were under the pump, particularly in the scrums. Did that put you on the back foot a little bit?
Like I said, it's a strong Argentina, that's one of their strengths, so, but we have to regroup and problem solve on the pitch, and I'm glad we did that, and we're happy to get the win.
Well done to you.
Thank you very much.